I have cancer, and I'm going to die soon. To break up with my girlfriend, I lied and told her I'd found a sugar mama, that she was just a fling. She cried and begged me, even threatened to hurt herself, but I still walked away without a second glance. Candy and I had been in love for 10 years, yet I was the one who ended it. I thought we would never cross paths again, but when we did, our worlds were completely different. She had become an A-list celebrity, while I was being accused of trying to pull an insurance scam. The moment I saw her step out of a $1 million luxury car, looking radiant, I frantically hid the critical condition notice from the hospital. The driver rushed over to me before Candy could, getting right in my face. He immediately started yelling, "You damn delivery guy! What the hell are you doing on that scooter? Are you trying to pull a scam?" He continued, "I'm telling you, I've seen your type 1,000,000 times. If you so much as scratched this car, could you even afford it?" I kept my head down, not wanting Candy to see what I looked like now. "I'm sorry. If it was my fault, I'll pay for it," I said, trying to lift my scooter back up. I just wanted to get out of there, to escape her gaze before she recognized me. My mind was racing, but I never expected that in the next second, our eyes would meet. She was wearing a red dress, an expensive gemstone necklace resting on her elegant neck, and her eyes were brighter than ever, radiating a cool, distant aura. In my panic, I quickly looked away. When Candy realized it was me, her expression turned to ice. "Hey," she said, her voice chillingly devoid of emotion. "Can you afford it? Do you have any idea how much this car is worth?" Her status was now untouchable. She had become one of Hollywood's hottest rising stars. And here we were, meeting again, with me as nothing more than a food delivery driver. All I could offer her now was my blessing and to be happy for her success. "I'm sorry, just calculate the damages, and I'll do my best to pay for it," I said, looking at the driver. "Can I get your contact information?" Just as the driver was about to give me his number, Candy cut him off. "Don't bother. He could never afford it in his lifetime anyway. Let's just go." She started walking toward the car, but after a few steps, she stopped and turned back to stare at me. "Sonny, don't ever try to get my attention like this again. You and I are from two different worlds now. Just look at the mess you've become. Even if you have regrets, it's too late." Is that really the kind of person she thought I was? For a moment, it felt like a knife twisting in my chest, an unbearable pain that I had to force myself to suppress. About 6 months ago, I was diagnosed with terminal stomach cancer. The doctor told me I had less than a year to live. At the time, my startup was at a critical peak, and it was also a crucial moment for Candy, who was competing on a reality talent show. We had known and loved each other for 10 years, both of us having moved to Los Angeles for small towns. We used to dream that I would build a successful company and she would conquer Hollywood. Once I made it, I would invest in her projects, producing movies and TV shows for her, making sure the dark side of the industry never touched her. We planned to earn enough money to buy a big house in the city, have 2 kids, and take them stargazing whenever we could. I remember Candy leaning on my shoulder back then, playfully saying, "Can we go without the kids sometimes? I want to count the stars just with you. A perfect moment for just the 2 of us." I smiled and made a silent vow to always cherish the woman beside me. I would have sacrificed anything to make her dreams come true. But that beautiful future was shattered by a medical report with 2 words written on it: terminal cancer. The next day, while Candy was at her competition, I moved out of our apartment. I left all the money I had for her. I broke up with her in the most abrupt and brutal way possible. On that phone call, I said the cruelest, most heartless things I have ever said in my life to Candy. I told her she was just a naive girl who didn't understand anything about the real world. I said she was no help to my career, that all she knew how to do was eat, take pictures, and have fun. I told her she was a burden and that I could never be successful with her holding me back. On the other end of the line, Candy cried, begging me not to break up with her, not to abandon her. She promised she would change, that she would stop being so carefree and would do anything to help me. All she asked was for me not to leave. But how could I stay? With less than a year left, I couldn't drag her down with me. The only way for her to have a future was for me to leave. Listening to her heart-wrenching sobs, my own heart was breaking. Silent tears streamed down my face. "This is it," I said. "If you really think you've got what it takes, then focus on your competition, win this thing, and prove me wrong. After saying that, I hung up. I threw out my old SIM card. From that moment on, I vanished from Candy's world. But I truly loved her. She was so good to me. She would make me a bowl of noodles whenever I worked late. She would give me back and shoulder rubs, acting silly and cute just to make me smile. I love her so much. But reality had stripped me of the right to keep loving her. I watched her get into the luxury car and drive away. I took a moment to catch my breath, then picked up my scooter. When I checked the customer's order, I saw that it had spilled. Taking a deep breath, I called the customer to apologize. The customer picked up and immediately laid into me. He said he'd been waiting forever, only for me to spill his food, and he questioned how I was even employed. I forced a smile and just kept apologizing, telling him I was willing to pay for it. He said my measly compensation was useless. The real issue was that I had delayed his dinner. After a lot of back and forth, I finally calmed him down by offering to pay 3 times the order's value. After hanging up, I didn't feel too down. Life is full of disappointments, and what could possibly hit me harder than my illness? Because of this disease, I gave up the person I loved most. Every time I think about it, the pain is sharp and twisting. The only silver lining is that Candy never gave up on herself. She achieved her dreams, one step at a time. Over the past year, I've kept up with her career. Watching her become more and more successful, her fame growing, has made me genuinely happy. Sometimes when I'd see negative press or trolls attacking her online, I would jump in and defend her. Whenever a hater would ask me, "You talk like you actually know her. Is she really that great?" I always wanted to reply, "She's 1,000 times better than I could ever describe. And yes, I really do know her." But I could never bring myself to type those words. I was afraid of causing trouble for her, of attracting the wrong kind of attention. Hollywood is a murky business, especially for an A-list star like her. The smallest vulnerability can be seized by rivals and blown completely out of proportion. One wrong move could end her entire career. After paying for the ruined order, I got a call from my primary care physician, Dr. Hansen, asking me to come to the hospital for a follow-up. When I got to the examination room, the sharp smell of disinfectant filled the air. The scent alone made me feel sick to my stomach. "Son, you're still so young. Are you sure you don't want to pursue treatment?" Dr. Hansen asked. "There's no point. I'm not doing it," I replied. "Dr. Hansen, could you just prescribe me some more painkillers, please? When the pain from this disease hits, it's a fate worse than death. Without painkillers to get me through it, every extra second of life is just torture." Dr. Hansen sighed and quickly wrote out the prescription. I was heading to the pharmacy to pay for it when I unexpectedly saw Candy walking right toward me. She was with another man. Even though Candy was wearing a face mask, I would recognize her eyes anywhere. I recognized the man next to her, too. He was a tech mogul, Chad Sterling. I'd seen him featured in all sorts of major news outlets. He'd made his fortune in tech after graduating from an Ivy League school. He was fit, handsome, and now worth billions, a dream man for countless women. Seeing the two of them together, they looked like the perfect couple, a match made in heaven. I kept my head down, trying to walk past them without being seen. But Candy noticed me anyway. She looked at me with a mocking expression. "What are you doing at the hospital? Don't tell me you're following me." As soon as she said that, the man beside her became guarded. He stepped in front of Candy, shielding her, and looked at me warily. "Who are you? What do you want?" Seeing him holding her hand sent a sharp pang of pain through my chest. The woman I had once devoted myself to protecting was now standing behind another man. But maybe it was for the best. With someone like Chad Sterling to protect her, I could rest a little easier. "Sorry to bother you. You've misunderstood. I was just delivering an order." "I'll leave now," I said, turning to go. But then I heard Candy's voice from behind me. "Sonny, just save your energy. We will never have anything to do with each other again in this life. Don't even think for a second that I would ever take you back." Her voice was loud enough for others to hear. I was mortified and didn't dare to linger for another second. I felt like a complete clown as I hurried away from the scene. Even though I felt that Chad Sterling could protect her, deep down, I still felt an unbearable pain, like needles piercing my skin and sinking into my bones. I ran outside, and only after I was lost in the bustling crowd did my racing heart begin to calm down. Candy's words echoed in my mind. I knew she hated me, and that she'd said those things just to hurt me. But I didn't blame her one bit. I had brought this on myself. I was the one who hurt her first. Now, I suppose this was my karma. I never wanted Candy to come back to me. In fact, I wanted her to stay as far away from me as possible. After all, a person with my kind of luck is nothing but a bad omen. Getting diagnosed with terminal cancer in my 20s felt like some cruel joke from the universe, proof that I was one of the unlucky ones. I got on my scooter and rode off quickly. A cold wind blew against me, chilling me to the bone, but it was nothing compared to the coldness I felt from what had just happened. When I left her, I called her a burden, a liability who was holding me back. I said every horrible thing I could think of. I wanted to leave her with some semblance of dignity. But seeing her again, any dignity I had left was gone. Yes, Candy, I still love you. I have never forgotten you. But I can no longer be the one who loves you. I kept riding, not noticing when it started to rain. I quickly found an awning to get under. In my condition, I couldn't risk getting sick. Catching a simple cold could be a death sentence for me. I stood under the shelter, watching the rain fall. The thought that I had been able to see Candy in person again actually brought me a strange sense of contentment. I zoned out for a while, and when the rain stopped, I headed home. Once there, I tidied up my small room and had a simple meal. After I finished, I opened my phone to see if Candy had posted any new updates. It looked like she had a new period drama coming out soon. It wasn't even released yet, but the buzz around it was huge. Just as I unlocked my phone, I saw a trending topic on Twitter. Tech mogul and A-list starlet spotted at hospital. I clicked on it. The gossip blogs were saying that Chad Sterling and Candy Evans were at the hospital for a prenatal checkup. They claimed the two had been secretly dating for a while and that Candy must be pregnant, speculating that an engagement was imminent. My heart clenched when I read that, but my gut told me the story was fake. Candy's career had just taken off. There was no way she would get pregnant right now. Her studio would never allow it. Sure enough, about an hour later, Candy's team issued a statement refuting the rumors. They said she was at the hospital for a routine physical and had coincidentally run into Mr. Sterling. They clarified that the two had no personal relationship. The comments were split. One side supported Candy, while the other side accused her of being fake. They claimed that a girl with no connections like her could never have become famous without Chad Sterling's help, and then said she wasn't good enough for him anyway. Reading those comments made my blood boil. Whenever I saw one, I had to reply. I couldn't stand seeing them slander Candy's name like that. As I was typing out a reply, I got a DM. Dude, I could tell you're a real Candy Evans fan. There are thousands of hate comments, and you're a madman for replying to them one by one. The person who DM'd me was a stranger, and their profile picture was a photo of stars. I quickly replied, I just can't stand seeing people drag her name through the mud. They wrote back, haha, not many people are as principled as you. This whole thing is blown up, and it's definitely not good for Candy's image. Are you a big fan of hers too? I asked. I guess you could say that. I like her a lot. She's a hard worker. I sent a thumbs up emoji. We seemed to be on the same page, and the conversation flowed easily. As we were chatting, I mentioned that if Chad Sterling was genuinely interested in Candy, they might actually make a good couple. But as soon as I said that, the other person's tone shifted. My Candy would never like him. They wrote, their tone suddenly sharp. Chad is a total playboy with a different woman every week. This whole trending topic was probably his idea to begin with. Their whole vibe toward me changed in an instant. I'm telling you, I'm a fan of her career. She absolutely cannot be dating right now. Yeah, you're right. I typed back. Okay, I'm done talking. I'm upset now. Going to bed. After sending that message, their status showed as offline. I clicked on their profile. The IP address was local, right here in Los Angeles. The username was Candy's Cutest, and the bio read, waiting for the one who will watch the stars with me. Other than that, the profile was empty, no videos posted. There wasn't much information, but they seemed like an interesting person. I glanced at the time and saw how late it was. I looked at my phone's wallpaper, a picture of Candy from when we first got together, right after we graduated from high school. We took that picture back then. It wasn't as polished as the professional high-definition photos of her you see online now, but to me, it was absolutely one of a kind. Over the years, I've gotten new phones, but I've never changed that wallpaper. She always told me she looked terrible in that picture and tried to change it for me several times, but I never let her. It was the first picture I ever took of her, and in my eyes, it was priceless, a beauty that couldn't be captured again. After high school, we went to different colleges, but the distance never weakened our relationship. We weren't like most couples who couldn't make it through a long-distance relationship. In fact, the distance made us cherish each other even more. Neither of our families had much money, so to see each other, we both worked part-time jobs, saving every penny for train tickets. From freshman to senior year, the stack of our collected train tickets was inches thick. My roommates back then were all jealous. They'd say, "The universe must have made a mistake letting a guy like you land such a beautiful and devoted girlfriend." I always felt incredibly lucky to have met Candy. I cherished her more than anything. When we were together, I never wanted her to feel the slightest bit of hardship. I always insisted on doing the cooking and washing the dishes. I'd buy her pretty clothes and save up to get her jewelry she liked. Back then, we were both so full of hope, with endless beautiful dreams for our future. When I tried to spend money on her, she'd stop me, telling me to save it for our future so we could settle down in this city. While we were apart, other guys would ask her out, but she always turned them down immediately. She would tell me that she, Candy Evans, would only ever love me, Sonny Miller, and there would never be anyone else. And I would tell her that I, Sonny Miller, would only ever love her, and that I would never let her down. But in the end, I broke my promise. I failed her. She went through so much with me and never got the happy life she deserved. I was the one who wronged her. Lost in these memories, I finally managed to fall asleep, only to be woken in the middle of the night by a sudden, indescribable wave of pain. I shot up in bed. It was pitch black outside as I fumbled for my painkillers and swallowed them. But they didn't work. The pain was so intense I was rolling on the floor, letting out agonizing groans. My palms and forehead were slick with cold sweat. I don't know how much time passed before someone burst into my room. "Sonny, are you okay?" I couldn't answer. In a haze, I felt my roommate taking me to the hospital. When I came to, I was lying on crisp, white sheets. I looked around groggily and saw my roommate sitting by the bed. "Sonny, you're awake. How are you feeling?" "I'm much better. It's nothing serious." "Thanks so much," I said. "Don't mention it. As long as you're okay. I'm going to head out for my delivery shift now." "Okay. Sorry for holding you up," I said with a nod. My roommate told me not to be a stranger. After he left, I struggled to sit up. A nurse rushed over. "Patient in bed 3. What are you doing? You need to lie down and rest. Are you trying to kill yourself?" A little while later, Dr. Hansen came by, his expression grave. "Your condition isn't looking good, Sonny. The painkillers aren't having much of an effect anymore. I really think you should consider treatment. It could at least ease the suffering otherwise." I cut him off. "Forget it. I'm not doing it. It's a waste of money." I climbed out of the hospital bed. Dr. Hansen and the nurse both looked at me, as if they wanted to say something, but held back. I dragged my unsteady body and slowly made my way out. But I never expected to run into Candy again. She was the person I longed to see day and night. Yet she was also the one person I had to avoid. I was incredibly weak in that moment. I fumbled to put on a face mask, but it was too late. Her eyes landed on me, a flicker of something in her gaze. "Sonny, why are you at the hospital again?" I pulled my mask on properly, but before I could say a word, she beat me to it. "Don't tell me you're here, delivering an order again." I wasn't wearing my delivery uniform. I thought for a second before replying, "What I'm doing here doesn't really have anything to do with you, does it?" She was already at the center of a media storm. If someone took a picture of us together now, the fallout would be even worse. Candy's expression soured. "You're right. I was being nosy. What you do is none of my business." A flicker of sadness in her eyes made my heart ache. I just mumbled an agreement and tried to walk past her. But after a few steps, I couldn't stop myself from turning back. "It's getting colder," I said. "Take care of yourself." Then I quickly walked out of the hospital. Back in my rented room, I pushed through the pain and checked my phone. I was surprised to see a new message from that stranger on Twitter, Candy's Cutest. It just said, "I'm not happy today." I saw the message and waited a moment before replying. "What's wrong?" I didn't get an immediate response. Just then, another topic started trending on Twitter with the keyword, Chad Sterling's statement. I clicked on it. Chad Sterling himself had posted a video statement. He basically said that his relationship with Candy wasn't what the media was speculating. He explained that he had also just run into her by chance at the hospital. His story matched the one Candy's team had released. I scrolled through the comments, and they were almost all praising Chad Sterling, calling him a gentleman and a class act. People were impressed that the CEO of a publicly traded company would personally post a video to clear the air for an actress. Some comments said things like, "This totally gives off powerful CEO protecting his girl vibes." Another replied, "Right? The CEO sees his girl getting dragged online and immediately steps in to defend her. I totally ship them." Comments like that were quickly liked to the top of the feed. Just then, I saw Candy's cutest pop up in the replies. She responded to the top comment, "You guys are ridiculous. They have zero chemistry. Besides, Candy's career is just taking off. She would never start dating now." She added, "And she definitely doesn't like Chad Sterling." The tone of her reply was so certain and absolute, as if she were Candy herself. Someone immediately started arguing with her, but she didn't back down, engaging them in a full-blown war of words. The more they argued, the more fired up she got. I quickly jumped in to back her up. After the dust settled, she sent me a few happy emojis. "Finally, that felt good. Glad to hear it," I replied. "When things in life get you down, it's good to let it all out." She then asked me, "Is there anything you're unhappy about?" Her question caught me off guard, and for a moment, I didn't know how to answer. Was I unhappy? Maybe. Maybe not. With less than 3 months left to live, the concepts of happy and unhappy felt meaningless. "Why aren't you answering?" she prodded, sending a stream of emojis. I finally replied, "There's nothing for me to be unhappy about. I just hope she's doing well." She immediately sensed there was a story there and started pressing me for details. But this was about Candy. I couldn't reveal a single thing. I didn't say anything more, just said a quick goodbye and logged off. While I felt a bit stronger, I went out to do some deliveries. In my condition, I couldn't make much money, just enough to get by. I was living in the cheapest apartment I could find and had no real hopes for the future. I usually avoided the bigger orders, afraid I couldn't handle them and would end up wasting the customer's time. But today, something unexpected happened. I got a delivery request specifically for me. The person had even added a $188 tip up front. I assumed it must be a heavy or difficult delivery and was about to contact the customer to decline. But when I checked the order details, I saw it was just a single cake. For me, that kind of money was a huge deal. The delivery wasn't difficult, and the notes just said it needed to be delivered sometime today. I was stunned. It was the easiest money I'd ever seen. I didn't hesitate to accept the order. I really needed the cash. I followed the address on the order, picked up the cake, and headed for the destination. The drive wasn't too long, maybe half an hour. When I arrived, I realized it was a luxury apartment complex in a very wealthy neighborhood. In places like this, they usually don't let delivery drivers go up to the apartments. A concierge takes the food at the front desk and delivers it to the resident personally. The security and privacy were top-notch. I was about to hand the order to the concierge, but he looked at the delivery slip and said, "Sir, please wait a moment." I was a little surprised he called me sir. Most people just call us the delivery guy. Is something wrong? Is there a problem with the order? I asked nervously. I had noticed when I picked up the cake that it was very expensive. If it was damaged, not only would I lose the tip, but I wouldn't be able to afford to replace it. The concierge kept a polite smile on his face. "No, sir. The resident specifically requested that you deliver it to their door personally." A look of shock crossed my face. "Are you sure you're not mistaken?" I asked. "Not at all, sir. Thank you for your trouble. I'll buzz you in now." "Okay," I replied. I entered the complex, expecting to have to find the building on foot, but was surprised when a private shuttle cart pulled up to take me. I had to admit, the places rich people lived were on another level. As we drove, I saw that the grounds were immaculate, with tons of greenery and spacious, well-separated buildings. It was much nicer than any other complex I'd ever seen. When we got to the building, the concierge called the elevator for me. In a place like this, each unit had its own private elevator entrance for maximum privacy. The apartments here started in the tens of millions, and I couldn't even imagine the monthly HOA fees. I thanked the concierge and rode the elevator up to the 8th floor. For some reason, I started to feel inexplicably nervous. When I got to the door, I raised my hand and rang the bell. The door opened almost immediately. I was curious. Did the resident know I was on my way up and wait by the door for me? When the door swung open, I was completely stunned. The person standing in the doorway was none other than Candy, the woman who was always on my mind. I was in total shock. After a long moment, I finally managed to speak. "It's you?" "It's me," she said, with a hint of playfulness in her voice. She wasn't cold like before. She looked up at me, as if waiting for my reaction. Snapping out of my daze, I said, "Of course I can. Here's your cake. Enjoy." I held the cake out to her, ready to turn and leave. But she didn't take it, just kept staring at me. She was wearing a loose set of pajamas, her face free of makeup, but she was still as beautiful as ever. I couldn't bring myself to meet her eyes. I tried to look calm on the outside, but inside, my emotions were in turmoil. I never, ever would have imagined that she would find me on the delivery platform and request me specifically. The whole situation felt completely surreal. It wasn't just the scene that was chaotic. My heart was pounding in my chest. "I'll just put the cake down for you," I said. "I have other orders to get to, so I should." I glanced at her for a second and was shocked to see her eyes suddenly turn red. Tears began to stream down her face as she stared at me. "Sonny, do you think you're some kind of hero?" she asked, her voice thick with emotion. "Do you think it's noble to sacrifice yourself for someone else?" I looked at her, my fists clenched so tight my nails dug into my palms. "What are you talking about?" "I don't understand," I said. "You're still pretending?" She shot back. "Sonny, you're a fantastic actor. I should have recommended you to a director. You would have been a huge star." The tears kept falling as she spoke. Seeing her like this was tearing me apart. But in my current state, I had no idea how to face her. What could I possibly say? I was already at the bottom of a hopeless abyss. The only thing I could do for her was not be a burden. I couldn't help her, and I refused to hold her back. In that moment, I had no courage left to face her. I placed the cake on the floor, forcing down the feeling of my heart being torn to shreds, and turned to leave. It was just like she had said before. We were from two different worlds now. We shouldn't have anything to do with each other. I turned to leave, but I never expected her to suddenly rush forward and wrap her arms around me from behind. Her heartbroken sobs filled the air. "Sonny," she cried, "please don't leave me again, okay?" Her tears soaked through my shirt, warm against my skin. Her grief completely overwhelmed me. "Candy, let go," I said, trying to gently pry her hands off me. But she wouldn't release her grip. "I know everything, Sonny," she sobbed. "How could you be so stupid? Did you forget everything we promised each other? We were supposed to go through everything together, good and bad. Did you really think I could only share the good times and not the bad?" she cried. "Even if you're sick, I would never leave you. I can take care of you." Her sobs grew louder, and I started to worry she would attract unwanted attention. With her status, any kind of scene could be a disaster. After a moment, I sighed. "Candy, let's go inside and talk." She slowly loosened her grip, but still held onto the hem of my shirt, as if she was afraid I would disappear. I picked up the cake and followed her inside. The apartment was huge and immaculately clean, and displayed everywhere were photos of us, from high school to college to when we first moved to Los Angeles to build our lives. Every single picture brought back a flood of memories. She was such a fool, such a sweet fool. She was a huge star now with a limitless future, and having all these photos in her home was like keeping a ticking time bomb. If the wrong person ever saw them, it could destroy her career. I set the cake on the table. "It's not your birthday today, is it?" "No, it's not my birthday," she said. "But it is yours." "My birthday already passed," I told her. Her eyes were still red. "I know. I wanted to celebrate with you now. After we eat this cake, I'll go with you to the hospital to get treatment, okay?" Her voice was no longer sharp or mocking. It was soft and gentle, almost cautious. No one would ever believe that a world-famous celebrity would speak so tenderly to a delivery driver. Looking at her, the words were on the tip of my tongue, but I swallowed them. There was no point in getting treatment for my illness. I was at the end of my rope, a lost cause. The gap between us was astronomical. "Let's eat the cake first," I said. "No," Candy said firmly. "You have to promise me." "Okay," I said. "All right, I promise." As the words left my mouth, a radiant, happy smile spread across Candy's face. She lit the candles on the cake and looked at me, her long, eyelashes fluttering. She was breathtakingly beautiful. She told me to make a wish. When I opened my eyes, fresh tears were rolling down her cheeks. "Why are you crying again?" I asked, reaching up to wipe them away. "Sonny," she whispered, "I'm so scared you're going to leave me." "Silly girl, I won't," I said. "Don't worry," she insisted. "I have money now. I can pay for your treatment. If they can't cure you here, we'll go overseas." "What about your career?" I asked. "I don't want a career. I don't want to be a superstar," she said, sounding like a stubborn little girl. "I just want to be with you. Ever since that second time I saw you at the hospital, I had a feeling something was wrong. I had someone look into it, and that's when I found out you were seriously ill. But this time is different from before. We have money now. I know you can beat this." She was so full of hope, trying to give me strength. Sunlight streamed in through the window, filling the room with a warm glow. She suddenly looked at me and asked, "Sonny, what did you wish for?"